Hello, Instagram. Signing on to you from Casa de Litvak, the new home of TLTTalks for the foreseeable future. Just gonna wait for a couple people to jump on. Today we are talking mortgages. What's going on in the mortgage world? What's happening? What's the latest? What's the landscape? So guys, welcome. Just gonna give it a few minutes for some folks to jump on. So let's jump right in. What's up, bud? What's going on? So essentially today, I want to talk about mortgages. There's a lot going on with the real estate world. Contrary to popular belief, real estate is not dead. There are transactions happening. There are things going on. There are deals happening. And so I'm getting flooded with questions about mortgages. So I wanted to come live to you guys today and talk about this a little bit. We're going to talk about three main things. We're going to talk about purchasing. Can I still buy a property? Can I still close? Can any of that still happen? We're going to talk about refinancing. Is it in fact a good time to refinance? And we're going to talk about the real hot topic, which is what is this forbearance thing? What's going on with this forbearance issue? So first of all, can I still buy a property? Absolutely. Purchases are still happening. They're not happening nearly at the volume that we're used to. I mean, last week in all of New York City, there was about 10 contract signings. And so things are happening. However, if you do want to buy a property, you 100% can still buy a property. Appraisals are being done mostly via desktop. So what that means is that the human being is not leaving their home, going to an appraisal, physically walking the property. Instead, everything's being done from a desktop appraisal, floor plan, pictures, etc., etc. And so actually what's kind of cool is we've regularly talked about that some of these things, some processes post-corona will actually stick. And myself and all the lenders that I've spoken to, we all seem aligned in the opinion that desktop appraisals, at least for some of the mortgage products, will end up sticking even post-corona. Closings are happening virtually. DocuSign closings are finally happening. For 10 years, I've been asking the question of, we have DocuSign, we have Skype, we have FaceTime, we have all of these different things to protect security. Why, in order for there to be a closing on a real estate property, why do we need 15 people in a room and to kill 2 trees for someone to purchase a property? So finally, this corona thing has been a catalyst for DocuSign closings. Those are happening. That's another thing that myself and many lenders think will stick post corona. But these things are happening. The thing to remember or to understand is just like the SBA loans and the lender loans, the PPP, all that stuff happening right now, there's constantly new regulation right now. It's confusing and hard to grasp all of it. The lenders right now, they're getting a series of new regulations from government, from banks, and they're doing their best to filter through all that stuff to make sure it still be efficient and effective. But just understand that some of the loans will be less available because of what's going on. There's just more risk. There's more risk of people getting unemployed, furloughed, laid off, whatever. There's more risk around corona of what may happen. So to just button this up, is purchasing still possible? 150%. Can you still buy a property? Can you still move forward? 150%. Are the loans changing? 150%. Some of them are being pulled back. So if you have questions about loans, I am not a mortgage broker. I just happen to have lots of lender buddies and we're constantly in the market for it. Please do reach out. Depending on what you're looking to do, we will connect you with a really high quality service oriented lender. On to refinancing. So is it possible and is it a good idea to refinance at the current moment? The answer is the same today as it is anytime in the history of refinancing. If it makes sense for you, yes, it's a good idea. Is it possible? 100% yes. So what that means is if you're currently in a fixed rate of the past that's very high and there are cheaper rates available for you and the fees or the closing costs to get the cheaper rate are not offset by the actual new loan, if the mathematics, the economics makes sense, well then go ahead and do it. The thing to remember, the thing to really keep track of right now is something called the float down rate or the reprice option. So what that means is, let's say you refinance today because the rates are pretty good. They're not historical lows per se, but they are pretty good. Let's say you refinance today and 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, the rates are much better. So I've talked to several lenders in order to prepare for this live, and most of them seem to think that the bottom of the rates has not come upon us yet, that eventually the rates will get even lower. They just don't know exactly when. And so if you do have this option of float down or reprice, what that means is that when the rates are in fact lower, your bank will just reprice to the new rate or flow down to the new rate without fees or with minimal fees. So if you are looking to refinance, I'd make sure that these options are in fact available. If they're not, again, if it makes sense, fine, but there are banks that are offering this, so I don't see why you'd go with a bank that is not. Again, we have several lenders we work with that if in fact this is what you're looking to do, please reach out and we'll connect you. And again, it's important to remember that some of the loan products that are very popular are getting pulled because of the high risk. So for instance, one of my favorite loans is a cash out refinance. It basically means you can cash out up to 75% of the actual loan to value. So if you have $1 million property and you have $500,000 loan on it, right? So you have 50% loan to value there. You can refinance up to 750, and that delta of 250 you'll just get back as a check. It's one of my favorite loans. We've helped a lot of clients connect with lenders and take advantage of the equity of their homes. Some of that stuff's getting pulled back. Another one of my favorite loans is how I got two of my last properties is the 90% financing interest only option. So I won't go into what all that means, but ultimately 90% financing is being pulled back, and a lot of banks are only doing up to 80% because of the elevated risk at the moment. So again, if you are looking to do anything, some of the loan products that are very exciting and very attractive are getting pulled. So I might act, sooner rather than later. Again, I'm going to be a dead horse. Please reach out. We can connect you with several lenders that can give you more guidance or more information than I can. I'm just a messenger at the current moment. So let's get to the what I think is the most important part of this conversation. Then I'm happy to address questions, comments, etc. If you have any questions, please drop them in the questions box because I'll go to questions right after I do this forbearance piece. So forbearance, what is forbearance? It is not forgiveness. It is not elimination. It is essentially a delay. So what forbearance means is, and there's the ability today to execute on forbearance for 3 months. And this comes in two options. Option number one is you delay for 3 months, and on the 4th month, you pay for all 4 months. So essentially, you're just delaying by 3 months. If your mortgage is $5,000 for 3 months, you don't pay. On the 4th month, you'll cut a check for 20 grand. That's not the option that most people are participating in my experience. The other option, which is the more popular option, is essentially you put these 3 months to the end of the loan. So what that looks like is quite simply, if you have a loan where the term left is about 20 months, and you do this 3-month forbearance, now your loan is simply 23 months. So you take the 3 months now and you just tack it on to the end. Seems really logical. People are having economic and income distress, so why not take advantage of this? Not pay the 3 months, not pay them later. What they're not telling you, what's not being said, is that actually the way that banks look at this is that you are either a character risk or a credit risk. So that basically means that if you wanted to do something else and they flag this for 3 years since the date of the forbearance, if you wanted to do something else within 3 years of executing this forbearance, you'll have a very difficult time because you'll come up like a character risk or a credit risk. And so that's not being talked about. So actually, one of the lenders, one of my dear friends, he has 2 homes, 2 investment properties. His total monthly mortgage liability is around $18,000 a month. Obviously, his income is affected because all of our incomes is affected. And he went forward with this forbearance thing, found out about this credit or character risk, and actually called and undid it. So look, tough times. This reminds me very much of short sales in 2008. I mean, I was around for that whole thing, and everybody was saying, oh, just don't pay your payments. Sorry, yes, it is shady. I don't understand why that's not being disclosed as like, hey, look, you can do this, but here's the implication. I think there's several people that would still act on it, but at least they have the information. They can make an informed decision. So like I was saying, this reminds me very much of 2008 where, everyone was saying, oh, cool, just don't pay your payments for a couple months. Then you'll just do a short sale. Fine, great. However, what they didn't tell you was that your credit was screwed for 7 years because now you have a short sale on your record, which is one notch up of a bankruptcy. So or a foreclosure rather, apologies. So again, that's forbearance. 3-month delay, paid in the 4th month, or delay it to the end of the term. Add 3 months to the term. The implication is that you are a character or a credit risk to banks. So again, if you're looking to do something in the next 3 years, it may not be the best option. If you have questions, if you want to talk through your long-term, short and long-term, real estate plan, very good idea to get on the phone with me or one of our lenders and just kind of talk it through. So that's kind of what I have for you today. I really wanted to hit on these points because we're getting a lot of questions, a lot of bad information out there. It's your responsibility today to fight through the noise and hear people that actually know what's going on. Iggy says foreclosures for many homeowners will be inevitable by end of year, for sure. Look, we don't know where this whole thing is going. I mean, I have a strong belief that on the other side of this, there will be a boom like we saw in 2010, like before that we saw in 2006 and 7. Like, I think there'll be a boom. I think restaurants will be packed with reservations. I feel like bars will be packed. I feel like the stock market is doing great. It's up like 40% in the last couple of weeks. Crypto's doing great. So we are seeing some buyer confidence, some consumer confidence. I think there's just no way to know. More and more people are getting unemployed every day. So there's just no way to know the long-term implications of this whole thing. For those of you that study business and know what a flywheel is or like getting anything going, it's hardest to get something going. So if you think of a car and a car stalls or runs like out, whatever, to get the car moving, the most difficult part is to get it moving. Once it's moving, it's really easy because there's momentum. That's what a flywheel is. So the economy is a very, very big, complex flywheel. And right now, it's, the flywheel is slowing down. As long as it doesn't slow down completely, we're fine. We'll rebound, whatever. So, but again, sorry, I digress. Mortgages. You can purchase 100%. And if you are looking to buy, there are great deals out there. We just did a deal in a new development where we got all transfer taxes covered. We got 1 year of common charges, and we got 14% off of the asking price. So for those buyers that understand that this is a short-term thing, that the things will rebound, for those buyers that believe that, there's so much opportunity out there right now. So purchasing for sure available, refinance if it makes sense to you, forbearance available, just understand the implications. So let me go to some questions. We have a question from Igor. 1031 exchanges, extensions, tax extensions, IRS deadlines. The IRS issued guidance Thursday. It sounds more like a comment, not a question. So if you have any more on that, drop it in the comments and let people see what you're referring to. Then we have another one from Igor. Lawyers may continue to perform all work necessary for any services. So as long as it's performed remotely, then it gets cut off, Igor. But yes, I have a lot of friends that are attorneys, and they are still, in fact, performing services. They are doing closings. They are doing due diligence. Again, guys, real estate transactions are absolutely still happening. So if you're looking to transact, reach out to your broker, reach out to your lender, reach out to your attorney. It is for sure still happening. Real estate service shall be conducted remotely for all transactions, including but not limited to. It cuts off again. It's new for me why it's cutting off. But yeah, again, for us, we saw this thing. We saw this thing kind of happen. We saw this thing happening. So we sprung to action quickly. We went and did video tours of all of our property. And we did 4 transactions last week in the rental market, 4 new transactions. We did 4 the week before as well, all from video tour. We have 3 contracts out at the moment, one of which was video tour, one of which we did via Zoom video. So look, there's space for innovation, for creativity. There's space for those people that have needs to still happen. Igor, yeah, that's a great idea, Sarah. Igor, if you want to jump on for a few minutes, I'm happy to address any comments, any questions, anything you want to share with our folks. Happy to have you on. If you are so brave to us to come on the live, we'll give him a minute to decide if he wants to do that or not. So if anybody has any comments, any questions, I'm happy to address. Otherwise, I'm happy to call it. But I just wanted you guys to have the most relevant information, the most up-to-date. Please feel free to reach out to me, call me, DM me, whatever. And if I don't have the answer, which I don't have all the answers, I will make sure to get you on the phone or more likely on a Zoom with the right person. Igor, I have 3 kids in my lap. I hear. I've only got 2, but I hear. They're currently in the bedroom with the nanny and the dog. I was joking with Sarah. Most Zoom meetings today, there was that really funny skit. The British newscaster where the kids break into the room, the nanny falls all over the kids. That happens to me basically on a daily basis. Guys, thank you so much. We will be coming to you guys live every Friday at 11:30, reporting on whatever is the most relevant topic of conversation. If there's anything you guys would like to know about, hear about, please reach out to us. Email me, call me, text me, just let me know. If there's anything more urgent, we'll just jump on live sooner rather than later. But I just want to say I really appreciate everyone tuning in. If there's anything we could do, let us know. All right, guys. Have a good one, everyone.